Well, good morning. You know, it's amazing. When I was in the Air Force, I was a firefighter, and we were considered a professional department by the standards of, well, just about anybody, because we had professional training, we had certifications, we had all of the things necessary to make us professionals, not just guys who showed up with a hose and water, but guys who were truly trained to do what we did. I'm guessing this lighting is a little bit weird, but I'm not exactly sure where to stand. So you're going to see some strange perspectives today. But that's exactly what I want to talk about. Perspectives. Because it's amazing how when you move from one angle to another angle, not only does the light on my face change, the light on my shoulders, is it coming in from behind me? Do I feel like the flashlight guy, light shining up your nose? You see how different just a little bit of light makes? Now I'm going to move this into the light a little bit more so that you can see a little more of me and still hear me too. But as a professional firefighter, one of the things that we saw on a regular basis was involvement from others, whether they're civilians who were concerned about the scene or they were volunteer firefighters from another area. And they would come into a scene where there was a fire and they wanted to help. They wanted to help get people out. They wanted to help put out a grass fire, help put out a house fire. And as a professional, sometimes you look at people who want to help and you think, wow, is that going to be the right kind of help? Do they really have any clue what they're doing? Are they going to become another victim in the process of helping? Will they show up on the scene to drag someone out of the burning building and then find themselves, because they're not trained, they're not professionals, they don't have the experience and the knowledge and the understanding necessary, find themselves a victim inside the building? We have to go back and get them. And when we showed up, we had 9 victims. Now we have 18 victims because we got more people going in trying to drag them back out again. See, it's one of the reasons people say if your house is on fire, just leave the stuff and get out. Your life is the most valuable thing. In the world of leadership, we encounter a very similar thing. A very similar thing. We see people who have a train wreck of a life. They can't quite seem to get it together, but rather than taking the time to focus on themselves and get well, to get healed, to get their mind straight, to get their perspective right, they spend all the time moving around. They want to help everybody else. They want to serve everybody else. They want to do a little bit of something for somebody. But what they're not doing is getting themselves grounded in a place where they can serve from, where they can help from, where they've got the right training and the right ideas and the right understanding of necessities to help other people. I remember watching a video clip, and it's one of those, I believe if you just YouTube, you'll probably see it somewhere in there. YouTube live bloopers. I do a lot of live video. And if you haven't noticed, this is live video, and 9 times out of 10, it's live video and solo, meaning there's no camera crew, baby, it's just me. So if this is cutting off my head because I'm standing too close, it's on me. There's nobody standing back there behind the camera going, scoot up a little bit, scoot back a little bit. Hey, by the way, you got a little thing in your nose, or, yeah, no, it's just me. It's just me. The live TV gives you some challenges. So there's this lady, she's standing on a boat, and she doesn't realize the gangplank is open to walk off the boat onto the dock, but the ramp isn't there. And so she comes strolling into the camera angle, and she's talking to the admiral, and as the admiral, who has his award around his neck for whatever, it's a rainbow colored award with a big medallion on the end of it. It's just a string though. And as she walks up, she grabs hold of just a rope that's there to tie the gate off so it doesn't flap back and forth when they have it open. And she leans so nonchalantly on this rope, not realizing that all it's going to do is close the gate. It's not going to hold the weight of her body. And as she does, it pulls her away from the edge, and she falls off the boat into the water. Well, the guy who's receiving the award apparently isn't a professional seaman or sea person or diver or rescuer or anything like that, because even though he's standing on the boat, the first thought he has is to take off his medallion and use it to try to reach her in the water. And he's this close to being in the water with her, and I'm thinking, dude, There's a big donut thing right behind you. It's got a rope attached to it. It floats. It's made for rescuing people. Instead of giving her a string with a metal tab on the end of it, why don't you throw her a real lifesaver? But see, how often do we see human beings in relationship do the same thing? They want to rescue someone else, and what they have to offer to rescue isn't even going to save them. And the chances that it's going to bring the rescuer into harm's way is pretty high. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a really hard thing to deal with. There are professionals who are trained to deal with it. There are others who feel like if I just give them a listening ear, I'll make them better. No. There's a reason there are professionals for that. There are a reason there are professionals for a lot of issues. And really, there's got to be a place where a coach can help, or a mentor can help, or a friend can help. And then there's a place where you need a professional. Now let me also add this to that concept, the professional versus the non-professional, because even when I was a professional firefighter and serving in the U.S. Air Force, and I had been trained by the best, I remember being in town one day, and by in town I mean I wasn't on the military base where I was assigned, which is Reese Airplane Patch in Lubbock, Texas, but I was in Lubbock on University Boulevard. And about half a block away and across the width of that road, there was a fire. I was on my motorcycle in my civilian clothes. Nobody knew me from Adam. And so I sat there on my motorcycle and I watched the building go into more flame. And as the fire began to spread, I began to see people coming out of the building in every direction. And then eventually the flow of people stopped and the building continued to burn. And there'd be little, flare-ups and walls collapse and things. And I just sat there on my bike thinking, y'all gonna do anything about that? In fact, there was a fire truck and a deputy chief in his Suburban just down the road from me. And I watched, as I watched them watch the fire. And I'm like, it's not on the base, so it's not my issue. In fact, I would be out of my quote-unquote jurisdiction. I'd be out of my territory. I got no equipment to fight with. I'm on a motorcycle. I got no air pack. I got no hose. I got nothing. But why aren't you guys doing something? Why are the professionals not getting involved when the professionals should be getting involved? Isn't our job to protect and serve? Isn't that what we do? No, wait, that's the cops. Protect lives, protect property. Yeah, we're supposed to protect the property and save lives. That's the job of a firefighter. We're professionals. What are y'all doing? I remember going to church the next day, and there was a guy that I knew from church who was also a professional firefighter for the city of Lubbock. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, did you know that such and such? He's like, well, I was off shift yesterday, but I do know that they let that building burn completely to the ground and they did it on purpose. And I'm like, I'm perplexed. I don't get it. Why would you, if you have the resources, if you have the knowledge, if you have the ability, if you have a bird who just flew like 2 feet from me, like he's brave or stupid, I don't get it. If you have the ability as a professional to solve the problem, to help people, why would you not? And he said, it takes a higher level view. It's hard to understand, but that particular building has been a problem for a while. Multiple crime reports there, multiple people have been raped there, lots of drugs have been sold and exchanged hands there, lots of drugs have been done there, prostitution has been done in that building, sex trafficking has been done in that building. It was an old apartment complex turned hotel, turned back to apartment complex, turned to a rent by the hour hotel. It's just been a train wreck for probably a decade. And the property keeps changing hands, meaning new owners are coming in, but nobody wants to solve the problem. They're generating too much cash with the crime. And so the city has arrested them, the city has fined them, the city has raided the place, and on and on and on. We just can't seem to get a handle on it. Well, apparently, in one of the kitchenette areas, someone started a meth lab, and they caught the place on fire. And the decision was made higher up that as long as the people get out, that we'll let the structure go, because there's nothing of that structure worth saving. Now I want you to hear that phrase again. As long as the people are okay, let the structure go. There's nothing left of that structure worth saving. Now, I want you to think for a moment of cultural structures, societal structures, political systems, educational systems. The structures are sometimes what we battle with. In fact, from a scriptural standpoint, it says we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities and powers and the rulers of these dark ages. It's the world system that is our biggest challenge. It's not the people, it's the structure. And yet sometimes we, as leaders, as ministers, we want to run in and save the system. Our perspective says, look at the structure, let's fix the structure, and then the people will be okay. And that's not necessarily true. In fact, sometimes our perspective, seeing the people in the structure, leads us to fix a structure that is in and of itself more damaging. It's the structure that is the problem, not the people in it. The people are the victim. But we also have to realize that sometimes sending people into that structure, sending people into that system to try to fix a system that can't be fixed, to fix a system that doesn't want to be fixed, it's just going to create more victims. And if we as leaders can't see that, then we send people in. And it seems right to serve people who are hurting. It seems right to fix a structure that is on fire, to fix a structure that's collapsing, to fix a system, a political system, an educational system, a job system. Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy recently. It's almost Christmas. Could they not hold off 90 days and see if the Christmas retail season changed their world? Or are they so terrified that Amazon is going to have greater sales than they are? Okay, yes, there are a lot of jobs that are going to be lost if Toys R Us goes belly up. A lot of jobs, and a lot of very disappointed kids because they can't go into Amazon and play with toys like they can at Toys R Us. But is the system, is the structure, is the business worth saving for the sake of the jobs or the kids who want to go play with the toys? Or is the system done? Is that company finished? I remember reading the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. And in that book, he talked about a phenomenal business structure that had done an incredible job of growth and leadership training and retail sales. It was then known as Circuit City. I remember recently talking to an immigrant to the U.S. who was working on her PhD in the U.S. And she said, I read the book Good to Great, and I can't figure out what is this Circuit City? What is that? And I said, well, you've seen Best Buy. She said, yeah. I said, if they had existed strongly at the same time, they would have been even head-to-head competitors. But Tiger Direct kind of came along and ate up Circuit City, and then it kind of, poof, it was gone. And what was once a great structure and a great system and a great facility is now gone. And its people have scattered and moved on to other things, but it was time to let the structure go. Are you following me? See, sometimes that structure is a microcosm. It's a relationship. It's that guy or gal that you've been dating. It's that friend that you've been hanging on to, even though they lied to you, even though they betrayed you, even though they've turned their back on you. You see the world from the eyes of the servant that you need to serve them. You need to be that friend. You need to be faithful. You need to be loyal no matter what their behavior is. And the truth of the matter is sometimes you just got to let that structure go. Sometimes you've got to realize in order to save yourself, the structure might perish. Let the people get out, let the building burn. It's not helping anything anyway. Rescuing that relationship, rescuing that system, rescuing that structure, rescuing that business won't do any good. I want to close with this final illustration. It's an actual story from my life. In Tyler, Texas, right after my wife and I got married, I met a guy who had purchased a business unbeknownst to me. I didn't know him at the time that he bought it, but before he bought it, I used to run it. There's a little place in Tyler, Texas called Fresh and Light. It was a little delicatessen that served, breakfast and lunch and no dinner. We tried dinner a couple of times, just didn't work. There was nobody in the community during dinner time. It was a business-oriented business. It only served the business community. And when they all went home at night, there's nobody left to serve, so no dinner. But we had a very strong breakfast crowd, and we had a very strong lunch crowd. Well, a year or so passes, and I run into the guy who now owns the business. And in fact, I'm trying to sell him advertising, and he's on the phone talking to the people he bought the business from. He's like, look, when I bought this, you told me it was really strong in this and really strong in this, and I was making this kind of money. And I'm just listening, overhearing, as I'm waiting to talk to him, overhearing him describe what I started, what I was running, what I had had great success at. And when he got off the phone, I said, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. And yeah, we actually did have that kind of business. And he said, well, it's not doing that now. And he offered me the job of rescuing the business. I was 24 years old, 25 years old. I took it. I took the job. He offered good money. I took the job. I went back in for a month or two, and he said, so, let's sit down and chat about the progress. And I said, I'm going to give you some hard news. The reality is right now, you're not going to rescue that business. It's not savable. Whatever it is that they've done there in the community, whether it's quality of service or quality of product, you've lost a lot of ground, and I don't think you're going to get them back. I also think, though, that you're burning a big hole in your own pocket with the amount of money that it takes to run it. I know what your food percentages are. I know what your labor percentages are. I know what your operation costs are. I know what your overhead is, because I run this business. I'm telling you right now, the amount of money you're putting out every day to have this business open is just digging a deeper hole in your pockets, and I don't see any likelihood that you're going to turn it around. He said, okay, so based on that reality, what do you recommend? I said, I recommend you close it. I said, right now you got 8 employees. 4 or 5 of them, it wouldn't make any difference to them if they worked here at the McDonald's down at the corner. It's just a part-time day job while they go to school. So they don't care. 3 of them are incredible employees, and since you own another restaurant, my recommendation would be move them. Offer them the same job, maybe a little more pay, to come over to the other store and do a different thing. And I think they'll move with you, and you'll have incredible employees that you don't have to spend nearly as much time training. And he said, okay, so what about you? Because I've already got a store manager over there. I said, I'll be fine. I wasn't looking for a job when I found this one. It seemed to find me. And that tends to be the case in my life. A lot of times I don't look for a job. It just kind of finds me. He said, that doesn't seem very self-serving. I said, well, it doesn't make any sense to me to continue to take a check from you, and I know soon you're going to be broke, and then I'm going to be out of a job anyway. So let it go. Shut it down. Sell the equipment for what you can. Lease the building or sell it, and move on. Cut your losses while they're minimal. I ended up working for that same guy for almost 2.5 years. In fact, at one point, he gave me the keys to his Toyota Land Cruiser and the keys to his lake house, and we moved into his lake house, and we lived there as property caretakers at no expense to us. We drove that Land Cruiser at no expense to us for almost a year of the time that I worked for him, because I was a good steward of what little he put in my hands, and he was able to trust me with a lot more. But more than that, I realized this is a process, this is a system, this is a structure that's not worth saving. Get the people out. Let the structure go. I don't know how I knew that 25 years ago. But I'm telling you right now, there may be a relationship, there may be a job, there may be a business that you've tried to start over and over again, a ministry that you've tried to start over and over again, and it's just not working. And you've got to find the place where you say, I've got to change my perspective. I've got to change the angle that the light is coming from. Is it behind me or is it in front of me? How I see this and my role in it. Am I the savior who's got to rescue this business or the people in it? This ministry or the people in it? This system or the people in it? Or am I someone who can step back and say, it's much better off to let that structure go and save the people? I know this is a hard one to apply, but as leaders, you are responsible for your well-being and those immediately around you to the best of your ability. And I'm going to challenge you in your ability to step up and do the right thing for them, for you, for the structure in the long run, and realize there will be a day when somebody will go, what is Circuit City? Never heard of Fresh and Light Deli. I get that. I never heard of such a ministry or such a church or such a job. I didn't know it ever existed. But the people will carry on. Because, you know something that's true? Money's not eternal. Jobs are not eternal. Your education is not eternal. Systems and structures are not eternal. People are the only thing that'll last forever. People are the only thing that are going with you into the next life. How will you see yourself and see them so that you can rescue as many as possible? Firefighters are always taught, if you're the professional, you get out as many as you can until you find yourself in the place that no one's left to rescue you. And going back for one more means your life is out. You've got to choose yourself over them. Maybe you're in that place right now. You've been trying to rescue a friend or a relationship, and it's just done. Let it go. Change your perspective. Back out and think of all the other people you could help. How could you help yourself? Do you need some professional help? Do you need a mentor? Do you need a coach? Do you need something different than what you've been getting? Let the professionals handle it. And if you are the professional, know when to cut your losses. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell I Like It Is TV. And yes, it is cold out here. I think 44 degrees is what I heard. 44 and windy, and I'm standing on the balcony. I wish the sun was up already because the view of the lake is absolutely stunning. Through the course of the day today, I'm at the Gathering of Eagles at the Chateau on the lake in Branson, Missouri. Table Rock Lake is behind me. Again, I wish you could see it. I will come back out here later during the day and maybe shoot some interviews and just give you a view of this incredibly gorgeous work of God behind us. But I will also, throughout the course of the day, be popping on and off with some live interviews of people who are attending the conference. We've got ministry leaders literally from all over the world who are here, and I will get some interviews with them, have some chats with them as they're available and as they're interested. I will also be, with Dr. Mike's permission and on his choice of content, be live streaming, and you'll know that it's live streamed with Dr. Mike's permission because you'll see the pictures and the icon of the 50-year celebration and the Gathering of Eagles across the bottom of the screen rather than my monikers on the screen. And when you see that, you'll know that you're watching live from the Gathering of Eagles in Branson, Missouri. Some of the content, he's going to say, this is great stuff, share it with everybody, get it out there, we want them to have it. Some of it he's going to say, you know what, for those who paid for access to be here, this is family type content. This is stuff that nobody gets unless they're investing to be here. So you won't get that. You'll have to come here to get that or buy the DVDs later. But some of the content I'll have permission to give to you, and as it's available, I'll give you access. I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope it has challenged your leadership roles. I hope it has challenged your leadership ideas. But at the same time, I hope that it's something you look at and go, you know, I've been needing someone to give me the encouragement to let that relationship go, to let that structure go, to take care of myself for now. And I hope that you'll find great success in that. Make sure you subscribe and share this video. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate having a chance to be a part of your life, and I appreciate you taking time to be a part of mine. Stay blessed.